Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank the International Road Federation for inviting the Economic Commission for Africa and myself to this conference. I will focus on the opportunities offered by the African Continental Free Trade Area to investments in transport infrastructure and services. It is generally acknowledged that trade and transport are intrinsically linked and that activities in the two sectors are mutually reinforcing. Enhanced trade generates opportunities in the transport sector through increased demand for transport services and the need to upgrade infrastructure along trade routes, while improved transport infrastructure and services enhance trade through reductions in transport costs and delays. Transport and trade are also important components of Africa's regional development strategy. This is underscored by the inclusion of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the Single African Air Transport Market, and the Integrated High-Speed Train Network among the flagship projects of Africa Union's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. Over the years, the Economic Commission for Africa has provided research-based technical support to member states and the African Union in the context of the African Continental Free Trade Area negotiations. This research has, among other things, predicted gains in intra-African trade in goods and services and provided impetus to the negotiation process. According to our estimates, the free trade area will boost intra-African trade in services by 39.2% by 2045, and tourism and transport are among the services subsectors with the most notable increase in intra-African trade. In this regard, intra-African trade in transport services has the potential to increase by nearly 50%. In absolute terms, more than 25% of intra-African trade gains in services would be in transport alone, and more than 40% of the increase in Africa's services production would be in transport. Ladies and gentlemen, implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area started in 2021 and triggered new strands of research at the Economic Commission for Africa with a focus on unlocking business opportunities generated by the agreement. It is in this context that we undertook a study on the implications of the free trade area for demand for transport infrastructure and services. This study provides insights into the effects of the African Continental Free Trade Area on trade flows in Africa and sheds light on how signatories of the agreement could reap its full benefits through the integrated planning of trade and transport. The study identifies critical transport links across the continent and provides estimates for the infrastructure required for different modes of transport: road, rail, maritime, and air, because of the free trade area. Permit me now to highlight key messages from the study. First, the transport sector will strongly benefit from the African Continental Free Trade Area. This benefit will be optimized if the free trade area is accompanied by implementation of regional infrastructure projects. This underscores the importance of fully implementing the Programme for Infrastructure Development in Africa, PIDA, whose priority action plan, adopted by African Union heads of states in February 2021, comprises of 69 projects to be implemented at an estimated cost of $160 billion US. Implementing the free trade area and planned infrastructure projects will result in the need for over 2 million trucks, over 160,000 rail wagons, 135 maritime vessels, and 243 aircraft on the continent. The estimated cost of trucks, aircraft, rail wagon, and maritime vessels required as a result of the free trade area is estimated as 345 billion, 25 billion, 36 billion, and 4 billion respectively. In essence, the estimated cost of equipment required by different transport modes to cope with the free trade area is about 411 billion US dollars. Rail currently transports just 0.3% of total intra-African freight. This increases to 6.8% with the implementation of the free trade area. Investment opportunities in infrastructure development and fleet expansion vary across sub-regions for different modes of transport. In that regard, there is an expected high demand for trucks in West and Southern Africa, rolling stock in West Africa and North Africa, aircraft in West Africa, North Africa, and Southern Africa, and maritime vessels in North Africa, East Africa, and West Africa. Distinguished participants, the ECA study, whose findings I have just presented, provides a treasure trove of investment opportunities in Africa's transport sector. Harnessing these opportunities would lead to job creation, particularly for youth, and to gender empowerment on the continent. The investments also provide an avenue for a green economic recovery in Africa, with a view to reducing greenhouse gas emissions from the transport sector. So, a report of the study is essential reading for the global business community, particularly potential investors in the transport sector. It is also a must read for officials of African countries and regional and sub-regional organizations that strive to optimize the benefits of the continental free trade area, especially by eliminating barriers to the movement of people and liberalizing the provision of transport services. This underscores the importance of member states ratifying the African Union Free Movement Protocol and signing the solemn commitment to the single African air transport market. For ECA, the report is a useful tool to enhance the effectiveness of its support to member states and regional and sub-regional organizations in developing national and regional AFCFTA strategies. It will also support the Commission's objective to crowd in private sector investment for Africa's infrastructure development. Ladies and gentlemen, let me end with a few words on the implications of the African Continental Free Trade Area for road safety, a subject that we at ECA are passionate about. Road deaths are disproportionately higher in Africa than other regions of the world. The road fatality rate on the continent is about 26 deaths per 100,000 people, compared to the world's average of 17. The expected increase in vehicles as a result of the free trade area may lead to more deaths on our roads, especially if these are substandard imported vehicles. The Economic Commission for Africa therefore urges countries on the continent to strengthen and harmonize their regulation of imported vehicles. We are committed to working with other organizations to support African countries to achieve that goal. I wish you a successful conference and thank you for your attention.